Okay. They got it. Okay. Okay, so if you will kindly hit the down button, because a couple of these, what I've done with the slides is, yeah, they kind of, things like fall in, at certain place. But Noah, I do want to let you know that, you inspired this presentation. I can't go another second without saying, Noah, I really appreciate you for being there, because, you really made a lot of us rethink the possible healing phenomena and extreme psychic ability. And now it has a stamp, it has a meaning, it's written down, it's facts. If you take everything I said about personality and gifts, okay, if you take that to heart, then you got to take this too. So I laugh. I did put this disclaimer in. I said, please bear in mind that on Quantum Bliss, because this is more of like a timed, you've only got 30 minutes, I think. So I always tell people, bear in mind the number of combinations of planetary aspects and asteroids indicating psychic or mystical ability reflected in natal charts exceeds the numbers of minutes I have for this presentation. So just because you don't see it in this one doesn't mean it isn't there. It just means that, we didn't get to necessarily talk about it, and we won't be able to get it. There's like 40,000 asteroids, and, a good portion of them, are related to psychic ability and healing and, all kinds of different abilities. But, and really without, I can't list them all practically. So that's, like I said, I had to put out a disclaimer. It's like, well, I didn't see my placement in that presentation. Well, maybe it doesn't mean it's not there. It doesn't mean you don't have it. It just means that I didn't get to talk about it just now. So for people, if you'll hit the next slide, I always tell people, if you were raised like heavily in church, I like to say it this way, the Bible, the biblical astrology. Next slide. And then first one I talk about, go ahead and hit again, is Genesis 1:14. God said, let there be lights in the firmament of heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years. And before Jeremiah, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. And another quote in Jeremiah says, for I know the plans that I have for you. If you hit the other button, the other slide will come down. For I know the plans I have for you, Jeremiah 29:11. Okay, and we all talked about astrology being the roadmap of your life. When a soul, you decided to become a part of this world, you came in with a roadmap. Now, the other parts I like to talk about, if you were raised in a heavily Christian environment, here's why you're not going to hell, at least not for astrology, okay? And that's because, first of all, we talk about, remember how the wise men found baby Jesus. It was the astrologers, the three wise men, okay? God didn't call them the three idiots, okay? He called them the three wise men, and they came bearing gifts. And, this also brought a lot of other, manifestation that they, for the Christ child. And another one is the Old Testament Joseph. He had a dream about, his mom, or his dad and his mom, and the moon and the stars, everybody like bowing down to him. A little arrogant, I agree, but it's still in the Bible. If that doesn't say, stars, sun, moon, and stars all bowing down to you, doesn't say astrology, I don't know what does. So the statistics, the astrological statistics, we all know that the phases of the moon affect the tides of the ocean. If the earth is about 75% water, then so is the human body. We're not exempt. And then next slide. And how people have asked me, how does astrology work? And I say, well, it starts like this: based on the day, the time, and the place that you were an individual was born, the stars, the planets, the asteroids will line up in that specific formation only once every 26,000 years. Or if you want to be very specific, 25,698, but I like round numbers. So, yeah. Next. Okay. Oh, No, okay, I'm glad that this came. Okay, so maybe something didn't come through properly, because actually that the A where you see this, well, the lowercase a, it should have had a symbol for the sun. Okay, so I'm sorry, it uses a specific graphic and sometimes it doesn't always translate. So my apologies for that one. The sun and where it is placed in your chart is going to tell you where you will shine. And next slide. The moon. The moon is your feelings, your intuitions, and your memories, the memories that you keep in your soul of other incarnations. It's also known as the timekeeper. Mercury, how do you communicate? How do you process information? Mercury governs electronic communication, and it is known that the brain produces electrical waves. So if you've had trouble this past 3 weeks, it's because this has been one of the nastiest but Mercury retrogrades I've experienced yet. So Venus, okay, the planet Venus is, what does love look like to you, and how do you express and experience love? Mars, what is your passion? How do you take action? What will you defend? Jupiter, what gifts were given to your soul? How will you make the most of them? And how will you bless the world? Saturn is, what karmic lessons are here to be learned in this lifetime? And what gifts and talents did you bring with you? Uranus, the planet Uranus. For a long time, I like to insert this too. For the longest time, everybody, we've only had 7 planets, okay? And I realize that the sun and moon are not by definition planets, but in astrology, there were only 7 luminaries. 7 is also a number that is repeated in the Bible. 7 archangels, 7 plagues, 7 this, 7, 7, 7, okay? And if we count them, we just went through the sun, the moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, 7, okay? And so we knew we had 7 planets up until 1780. And that was when we discovered Uranus. And Uranus, it's kind of considered to be the ruler of astrology. It's also called the Great Awakener. It's the unpredictability in the universe. And it's associated, when aspected, it's associated with clairvoyance, clairaudience, and it's also known as the higher vibration of Mercury. Neptune was called the Great Dissolver. It's also the spiritual awakening, and it can too mean self-deception, but because it's also associated with the Oracle of Delphi, because remember how they would kind of put them in like a trance sort of state, and so that's what Neptune can also signify, like people who can put themselves in trance-like states. And it's associated with substances, escapism, and mystic phenomena. And I recently learned, I don't know if I shared this with you too, but I recently learned that in 1848, the wife of President Pierce, she was actually having seances in the White House at the same time Neptune was being discovered. So, it's also, the 1840s also saw a big shift in religion. So that's when a lot of like the branches of, Christianity, even Judaism, broke off, because you ended up with Seventh-day Adventists, you ended up with Pentecostal, you had people starting utopian societies, Baptist, Methodist, Episcopalian, the whole lot, but that's when 1840 saw everything kind of taking different branches. And that brings us to, last but not least, and that is Pluto. And Pluto is the great transformer. It was discovered in 1930, and it's associated with nuclear energy, so it always has a special place in my heart, and emotional intensity. And properly aspected, it can intensify psychic or mystic ability. So with that, let's look at some pictures. There's Mercury. Next slide. That is Venus. And then we're going to see Uranus. There we are, that blue planet. And then the planets that are most common in psychic ability, when we consider that, and then if you hit the slide again, it'll show you the moon, we consider, it'll hit the slide again because it'll come out with more, I think, Mercury, and then Uranus, and of course Neptune. And those are the four, those and Pluto, and those are like really the five big players that, you know, we kind of look for what asteroids are aspecting them, or at least what I've witnessed, and, you know, who I've interviewed and what I've seen. So next slide. So asteroids, and then we hit the slide a couple of times. And again, this is not an all-inclusive list, but aura, it's, you know, people who are able to see, you know, the color, you know, around somebody, you know, that asteroid is available. And, you know, and telepath is, you know, like telepathy, you know, it's pretty self-explanatory. Discovery is, you know, it kind of covers the mind, and what, you know, we have only begun to understand, maybe, you know, not even quite half of what our minds and brains are capable, that which we're capable. Then we have hypnosis. Hypnosis is, you know, somebody who can, I almost have like a, you know, put other people into a hypnotic, you know, a state. And what that can do is that can bring about healing, you know, because of subconscious trauma, or, you know, any type of, there's also, you know, a subconscious, besides our conscious that needs healing, sometimes subconsciously we need it too. And this helps. Urania is also an asteroid that's very associated with astrology. And it's, you know, Apollo. Apollo was the sun god in ancient Greece and also ancient Rome. So, you know, he was also kind of realized, you know, recognized as the god of healing. And, you know, so Psyche. Psyche is another Greek mythological figure who was actually, it's a long story, but she was actually married to the, whom you would say is Cupid, almost, Eros. And, but Psyche is, you know, kind of like the inside of, you know, like a person's brain and mind, and where that falls. And it makes them, you know, a little bit more inclined. Spirit is people who are, I can either, maybe they don't necessarily see a spirit, but they can sense them very strongly. And, you know, they can get a lot of information just, you know, by, you know, being amongst a place that, you know, harbors, you know, maybe even some haunting. So, and Horus, as we know, was the Egyptian, that was the eye, you know, the Egyptian eye, the healing eye. So, you know, that's another one that's associated with basically telepathic healing. Okay, it was like, you know, radiated. The sun radiates health, it radiates heat, it radiates wellness, and, you know, Horus was also a part of that in ancient Egypt, as Apollo was to Rome and Greece. Reiki. Reiki is yet another asteroid that does appear. And, you know, I believe the Japanese, and correct me if I'm wrong, ladies, it does mean that it's like healing wind or healing.
Universal life force.
Okay. Yeah, but there is an asteroid dedicated to it. So, but yeah, it's something that, you know, a lot of people believe is a very legitimate way to heal somebody, is to channel energy. So I think there's another few more asteroids to touch on. Asclepius is an asteroid that was named after a Greek physician. And, you know, he was kind of, you know, he introduced a lot of like modern methods. You know, he believed in, you know, healing from within, healing from the soul. So he's another asteroid that, you know, should be considered, that you should look for. Anubis, the Egyptian god, you know, he also was, you know, kind of responsible for dictating, you know, just people would often pray to him for, you know, special favors or even, you know, abilities. That's what I remember. Hygeia just means it's health. It's health in general. So, you know, we're not always dealing with, mind or mystical problems. Sometimes it's just practical. You know, it's where we get hygiene. Okay, you know, sometimes you know, it's not very complicated. All you got to do is wash your hands. You know, so Ceres Ceres is the Roman goddess of harvest, really. She's where we get the word cereal. So if you think somebody who like nourishes and nutritious, my screen has gone blank. It's Mercury retrograde. Let me see if I can go back. I may have to drop out and rejoin you. Okay.
That's fine.
Okay, you're right there.
Okay. I don't know if I have to exit her out or how that works.
I don't know. Adriana's loud, so I've been staying on mute. She's better.
I got mine on mute too. This is really fun and interesting. She really has some awesome points.
Oh yeah. Yeah, this is a great presentation.
Yeah, she's doing good. So the Jeremiah quotes that she used, the exact day that I said, I'm going to be the rebel prophet, I opened up my Bible and I prayed and I was like, show me the words I need to hear. It was those two verses. And what she actually missed was what it says is, I've known you, I've marked you from the womb. Let me find it, because that was really, I'm like, no way. I just read Jeremiah again this week because he actually was known as the rebel prophet. Like that was actually what people called him. And I didn't know that until I was reading that. Until I looked it up. And then I'm like, of course I would read that. And of course, whatever. Before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee before, and thou cometh before, and out of the womb I sanctioned thee and ordained thee a prophet into the nations. That is the finishing of her thing, is that he was like, no matter what, you can think that your life was messed up and it's going to take you a long time, but I formed you to be a prophet before you even came out. And I'm like, no way. So she read that and I'm like, girl has it. And in some of the points that she's been making, exact points that I had in even my Harvard slide. I mean, that's crazy. Noah was laughing and giggling really hard before this. And he was like, oh, you guys have no idea what you're in for right now. And I'm just like, okay. And then of course she's like, well, Noah really pushed me to do this. Of course he did, right? Of course you did, Noah, and that's why you're giggling. And then to even have those words. Hello. Hi. Okay, I'm on a message online in a meeting. Is this really important? Sorry. I've been eating these little heart candies. I was like, I'm gonna save some for Adriana, but I keep opening them up, and every day I just come in and get more.
She's crying because you're eating all her candy. She's been crying for a while.
It's okay, Adriana.
You would come say hi.
Nope. We're back. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
Candice, I was telling her before, you are like, I was laughing so hard because you had put the Jeremiah, and when I was like, what am I missing? What do I need? What am I missing? And I prayed on my Bible and I said, show me the words I need to hear. The Jeremiah quote that you just had up there, like, I knew you before the womb. And I was like, oh, she didn't finish it because it said I marked you as a prophet. And that was the exact quote that I read when I'm like, okay. And then I got in my head, like, you were built for this. And then it says a lot more. I read the chapter. Anyway, then I got the rebel prophet and I checked to see if anyone was up there, and it said Jeremiah was the rebel prophet. And I was just
Yes, he
laughing
was.
because I'm like,
Yes, he was.
of course you're gonna go. Like, I told you that you have been working your stuff in my life too. And I'm like, of course she puts that. Of course the guide said, put those quotes because Melissa's gonna know. Like,
Yeah.
oh my God, you're so
Yeah.
good. You're so good. You're so good.
Thank you.
I do have a question though.
Sure.
And then before we get back in here, if I could. So what was the effect of Pluto, because we took it out of our planetary system for a while, or it was out of our orbit and then
It
came?
never left the astrology world.
Okay,
Yeah.
that was all I wanted to know.
We used to joke about that because, you know, what was President Bush, read my lips, no new planets. And then Bush Jr., we said no planet left behind. You know, I mean, you know, that's nerd sense of humor, man. Don't mind me.
Oh, you're fine. I'm loving all of this. I'm like, oh my gosh, of course you do have it. You got it. You got it. I mean, some of the stuff that I was writing, I've had the same exact words in previous speeches or seminars, classes I've held. Like, oh my gosh, you're blowing my mind, girl. You're doing it so well. You're doing good. So
Thank you. Thank
yes, I'm giving it back to you. I'm muting myself again.
Okay, nope, doing great. Okay, so I think that might have been the last asteroid. No, I think I listed a couple more. Let me see. Yeah, maybe. Series Pallas. Okay, so Pallas Athena, and what that is that she's the goddess of wisdom, and you know, with any gift is, you know, you need to know how to use it wisely. If it's, you know, aspected well, you'll know when to speak and when not to speak. You'll know when to offer your, you know, your gift to somebody, and you'll know when not to. You know, so I can't emphasize that enough. You know, she was the one who. Oh, yep. So once again, unfortunately, it says Z asterisk BC and X. Unfortunately, that's my my software. It, you know, it had the symbols for what you'd see in a chart, but a conjunction sort of looks like a circle with a line coming out of it. Okay, you'd see that if I printed it out. I sometimes software doesn't translate properly. But the appearance of a conjunction in a chart says that, you know, several planets are collaborating together, and sometimes it's called a stellium. So I'm just naming what these aspects, when you see it in your chart, what it means. And that usually means that several planets are in the same sign or in the same house. And we refer to that as a conjunction. The appearance of a sextile is when planets are about 60 degrees from each other, and that suggests the opportunity to develop a gift. Now you can choose not to, and that's fine. But you know, it is in your was in your backpack when you were sent here, so you know, you do have it. You know, and you know, there's all kinds of ways that, you know, to meditate and think on how you would gravitate towards that. The appearance of a trine in a chart suggests that the presence, or, you know, it was born there. You don't really have to do anything to develop it. It's just there. So, you know, a trine is facility and ease, and usually planets are talking to each other easily, you know, easiest during the trine. Or like I might have explained in my reading, see, the zodiac wheel is 360 degrees. So, and there's 360 degrees in any circle, and that's just geometry. And then, so trine is anything that is 120 degrees apart from something, the sextile is 60 degrees, and so forth. But the appearance of a square in a chart, it's kind of difficult because it's the opportunity to reconcile two energies. And if you have a square, you know, people think, oh, square is bad, opposite bad. No, it's not bad. It just does, you know, I've had this poor lady sit down. She said, an astrologer told me I had a bad chart. And I said, you don't have a bad chart. I said, you got a lot of squares and oppositions. I said, really? But where's the victory without a little scuffle? You know, I mean, you know, I know people with trines and sextiles that do nothing with their lives, you know. So, I mean, this says that you're accomplishing something. So, you know, I take a square over that any day. But the opposition in the chart does say that you have an opportunity to balance a gift, and it depends on, you know, again, once again, the sign and you know, exactly what it's opposite from. So, and that tells you a lot. That tells you a little bit more about what capabilities you have in your chart. Next, please. Okay. So, and then if you hit it one more time, it should say subject, yep, subject 0001. Okay, so what we can see from this person is that they have a sign of Leo on their ascendant. They also have hypnosis very close to their, besides the planets, there are 4 very sensitive parts in the chart that need to be considered. And that would be if you think of the chart like a compass, okay, the ascendant would be the west, the descendant would be the east, the MC or the midheaven would be north, and then the Imam Coeli, which is kind of like the inner side, would be south. So this person was obvious, and with Uranus right on his ascendant, he was designed to stand out. He was not designed to come into this world to fit everybody's, expectation of a man born at his time. And so he was very often, he had dreams, okay, and he could very easily be put into a trance. And these dreams, because you have Uranus next to the psyche, he could travel with his mind to places that, he otherwise physically would be impossible. He also had the ability of, he had spirit, okay, again, so he was very much, very much a part of the spiritual world. It was very natural to him. There were no surprises, to him. And, he spirit or, like interesting psychic phenomena was about as novel as wallpaper, it just was what it was, and just how it worked. He's got Reiki, it's REI, and you'll notice that in the house that's marked 5, and it's next to Mars. So this person was a champion for, Reiki or, distance healing. If I think that's a good definition of that. He's also got the Eye of Horus next to Pallas Athena. Pallas is the one that looks like a diamond with a little toothpick, and 2 degrees from that. And that says that, he had a lot of wisdom as, he got wisdom as he got older, I would have to say. As to who really needed him and who was jerking his chain, forgive me. So then we noticed the other asteroid, Telephus. Telephus is right on his descendant. It's within 2 degrees. So that meant that this person did have a lot of telepathic behavior. He could communicate telepathically. He could understand things that nobody else seemed to understand, and knowledge that didn't seem to come from this world. He has discovery on his north node, and that meant that he was kind of a person whose life and abilities should be examined, because he spent a lot of time asking himself, gosh, is this really what I'm supposed to be doing here? And the reason I point that out, you'll notice that up in the 9th house, he's got Uranus and Pluto. Oops, I'm sorry, not Uranus, I apologize. Neptune, Moon, and Pluto, and they're a little bit in a stellium, and it does say that he was very, very reluctant to deviate. You'll notice that Neptune, the planet the Trident, is up. It's in the planet Taurus, which means he had very ideas that were instilled in him as a young person, and because Urania, the asteroid, was next to that, it meant that he didn't understand why he thought differently, and he struggled. He didn't want it. Okay, he was he was actually a very good minister. He was very familiar with the Bible. He was very he was a Christian, raised Christian, and he really fought everything that he was given. But he was known as a remarkable remote healer. And if you hit the next button, you'll know that who am I talking about? Edgar Casey, the sleeping prophet. So subject 1020 has exhibited a remarkable number of psychic ability and gifts, clairaudience and clairvoyance. What strikes this person the most is you'll see that Uranus, being in the first house, is perfectly trine the sun, and they're both at 26 degrees. So again, this person knew things that they really shouldn't have known at a very young age, and it was just part of their personage, and they didn't, worry too much about it, because that's just how things always went. So Mars is next to discovery. So this person is, also a very passionate person about, talking about, different abilities and things that aren't always, recognized and licensed by traditional religion. And so, she was very, this person was very, very much a promoter of it, and saying, no, it is real. What you experienced was real. This person has also had UFO encounters, and people have said, this person, my subject here, was insane, and no, wasn't insane. She was just told to, kind of keep her mouth shut. And, that sadly happens. But she's got Urania, which is 60 degrees from Pluto. So that means, she would be very, very familiar with, the ability, of astrological influence. Okay. She would also have psyche, the ability to see inside somebody with Pluto, 60 degrees, not only Pluto, but Saturn. And she does have the squaring the nodes exactly is the degree of hypnos. And hypnos means, watching her can be something of, can put you in some type of a trance. And she is not easily hypnotized, actually, because it's squaring the nodes. So she's better awake, sometimes, but that's just how that works. The other thing that she's got. Uh-huh.
You guys hear that talking?
Yeah, that's going on. It's over at the next corner. They
Okay, I'm like, I know that's my audible ear. That's not spirits, but it wasn't coming up on anyone. Okay.
Yeah.
I got something really here. My girlfriend, it caused her lights and everything to come on in the back and record her. And I don't know if you guys can see it. It's like a stick. Can you see it? She called scared. I said, tell it to leave. But scared her, tell her to leave. And it formed that stick.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Everybody get a good look.
Yeah.
There's another one.
Oh, apparently there's another one. Hang on, we got some more here.
Yeah. Here's
Okay.
this one.
And there's this one. Oh, she's sending more.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. Is this Barbara?
No, Colin.
Collie? What's Collie doing with this?
I know. It came to her. Her lights and things came on downstairs, and she took her cameras and she took a picture of
It's
it.
probably John.
I don't think it don't look like John.
Well, it doesn't have to look like John. I mean, what do you look like over on
I
the other
wouldn't
side?
think it was John.
John is her
When you are on the other side, you look like your perfect image of what you thought. Like the best time when you looked at yourself and you're like, I look good. That's what you look like.
Yeah.
My husband's mom kept visiting me, and I kept telling him what she looked like. And he is like, no, that's not what she looked like. And I'm like, I'm telling you, this is your mom. I am not getting this wrong. This is your mom. And he goes, babe, she never looked like that. Well, we were moving his grandmother into assisted living or and whatnot. And I found this picture and I freaked out. I'm like, who is this? This is the one that keeps coming to me. And Aurelia, his grandma goes, that's my daughter. That's Drew's mom. And I'm like, told you. But you know, we look our best image of what we thought we looked like, and we divert to that.
Well, that's good, but this here, if you can see, it looks like a stick. And at the very bottom of that stick, you can see an outline of a kitty cat. You may not be able to see it on this, but
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how well, because I've got you right up next to the camera here on the computer, but I don't know. Yeah.
like, right?
Yeah, I could see it. Yeah.
You see the kitty?
Yeah.
But I don't know about that.
And you just never know what's going to happen over here. It's so high up.
Tell her to go put out something sweet. Tell her to go put out some sweet, because actually sometimes when we tell them to go away, we make them more mad because they're coming for something. So if we're nicer to ghosts, it actually helps them be nicer to us. But I'm hearing like it wants something, like it needs something sweet, but it'll take it energetically in a different way. So if she has some sweets, go put them out there and it'll go away.
I'll
Like
tell her.
cookies or something, I don't know, or muffin, candy
Okay.
hearts. I don't know.
Okay. I'll do that. Thank you.
Thank you, dear. Okay. So this person, this subject, I know I go back and forth. I'm trying to be strict and say this subject, but so this subject also has an aspect with, you'll notice that she's got a spirit, okay, which is trying her ascendant. So this person can and does often interact, bless you, does often interact with, spirits on the other side. And, it's just a part of the identity. She's got 24 degrees from the south node, comes with, and also it's trying the north node, and interestingly enough, is Reiki and telepathy, both in the sign of Capricorn, which is all about tradition and, following laws. And so what you're looking at is somebody who's very ethical, in their, dealings with, what they try to communicate outwardly, at least, sort of out. She's also got a, let's see here, well, that's Libra and Saturn, which is, yeah, Pluto and Neptune are also within 60 degrees of each other. And it's, yeah, so you have somebody that's, going to be pretty, kind of dominant, in terms of able to access their abilities. And, they knew them from a young age and it was okay. Let's see, Apollo trines the moon. So once again, you have somebody who's very concerned emotionally, for people, and understands that, sometimes when you can't speak, the mind speaks for us. But that is subject 1020, a very good clairvoyant. Next, we have subject 0212. Does this look familiar to any gentleman that might be on the call?
It's Noah.
It's Noah. Noah, it's you, dear. It's you. So the first one, the one big thing is very interesting is he's got Mercury. The planet Mercury is opposite of Urania. Okay, it's an opposition. But, oppositions are, he's balancing, like the practical applications of taking his gift out into the world. It's, I mean, yes, it's one thing to have a gift, but then what do we do with it? And that's important too. He's also got Mercury conjunct Uranus, which makes him a very creative thinker. And, somebody who's always thought, just thought differently. Their thought patterns are just different. They can usually foresee things. They don't understand it, but it happens. I mean, I can give you an example. My grandfather, he had a Uranus Mercury conjunction, And he would have a funny way of usually calling it right. And one of the things that, when JFK was shot, and of course the whole thing was in mourning, he shrugged and he said, well, now all they have left to do is shoot Patsy. I don't know. No, but that was just something he was capable of. So here we have, you'll notice that Apollo is actually trining the sun. So this person was actually born with a great deal of healing ability, okay? And because, it's trining the sun in the 11th house being, the house of hopes and wishes, it does say that, this person can create a healing situation and a healing, ability, for other people. He's got subject, I'm trying to be good. Subject has moon trine Reiki, which once again, that does mean that, at his emotional core, he really wants to heal people, and the way he does it may not be completely conventional. He came in with discovery conjunct the south node. So, and what that kind of says to me was maybe in a past incarnation, these abilities were maybe just starting to open up for him, or in the previous incarnation, we're just starting to open up, and then might have been time for him to go, but he came back in this life, to promote health, because North Node and Moon are in the Virgo sign. That not only is it technical and detailed and all that good stuff, but Virgos keep us healthy. You'll find a lot of Virgo placements are nurses and doctors. So it just it stood. So see here, the other he has telepathy next to Saturn, which is another thing that was Saturn being karmic in the 12th house. It says that maybe, it can suggest that maybe in a past life, he really wasn't sure about it and really didn't know what to do with it. And so for that, I'm not saying it was necessarily misused. I am going to say, though, that he came this time to try to kind of rectify it and get it right, and so with that, this person came in with telepathic ability. He was born with it. Came right in. Jupiter is actually sextile from Spirit, so this person could potentially develop the gift to speak with those on the other side, and this person probably imagines that there are how shall we say portal is kind of a generic word, but I prefer the word wormhole. Okay. And I think that there are wormholes like all around us. Like, a couple of weeks ago when I was in Mansfield and the prison, so I don't know if you're familiar with it. A very, very haunted place. Saw a lot of nasty things in its time. But I'm not sure that if you're like, for instance, if you have a spirit box or a ghost box or whatever they're called, EVP or whatever they're calling them nowadays, that when you're talking to somebody, and you ask them a question, I don't know that somehow they're like, going through some kind of wormhole and talking to you back. Because I always like to ask the question. Now, it was during Mercury retrograde, so none of our electronics, my phone died 3 times, I called it Lazarus, for heaven's sakes, you've got to come back. So it was, just the way it worked out. But one of my favorite questions when you go to places is like, who's the warden? What year is it? I mean, I know they sound like dumb questions, but if you're talking for somebody that, so this person certainly has the opportunity to develop that in this lifetime if they choose. Pluto is, intensifying their creativity because it's an absolute sextile. And, so that does say that, the psychic abilities and everything, because they're also any planet that's in 1, 4, 7, or 10 does tend to get a little extra juice or a little extra boost or however you want to say it. But because this person, is quite clairvoyant as well. So I won't reveal the name of the person unless, you know, they ask me to, but this is the chart of Noah Smith. So yeah. Hypnos, I
He
do.
said you can use his name anytime. He wants to be heard. This is the lifetime he wants to be heard. He said, I didn't help you with this for no reason.
Well, actually, because Mars was close to the South Node, I think I might have mentioned this to Sharon. Because Mars is close to the South Node, it does say that in a past life he was quite the fighter. You know, I mean, and he fought to discover what things were maybe hidden to, you know, the masses, if you will. And so, you know, I'm looking at somebody who, you know, kind of figured out early that they better hide what they can do. You know, I mean, that's just the way it was. You know, I say, hey, don't feel bad. I'm a redheaded Jew, you know, astrologer with clairvoyant abilities. They'd have had me burnt, you know, I shouldn't even be standing here. Okay. Surprised they don't do it more often. So, but yeah, this is a person who was kind of asking, you know, the question behind the question and didn't take anything at face value. And that may have been why that last incarnation ended. And, but that's all right because he's here now and he's here to continue this work. And, you know, by moving towards his north node, which is healing, and the moon close to that says Virgo, it does say somebody who's very practical, you know, and, you know, so that's, you know, and somebody who has the ability to be quite prominent with Jupiter and the sun and, you know, a lot of planets in their upper house of the cardinal houses. So we'll go to the, I'm sorry, I need to see who made this here. What is, yeah. Okay. This is subject 0124. Okay. So this person as well has a north node in Virgo. Okay. So once again, and because Saturn and Spirit, this is you know an old soul who's come back to do a lot of work with Spirit, and you know this person can see inside because Pluto is 60 degrees from the north node. This person has like almost you know X-ray vision, you know, when it comes to dealing with somebody, and you know. Can size up a situation, you know, quicker than I can spit it out. Okay, so telepathy with Pluto means that this person is a very powerful telepathic speaker, you know, and does have that communication ability. Does have because it's in Libra, it does say that there is like an element to, you know, it wants to come in to take care of people. It doesn't serve itself. And so, you know, it's here really to serve other people. Now we just hope that, you know, sometimes Libras aren't always appreciated as much as they should be. But I think that's, you know, something, I think that's quite possible. So discovery is in the fourth house, and it's aspecting the asteroid series. And when you see that, this is a person who nourishes others. Okay, it is an opposition, but it's a person who is actually now figuring out how to nourish those around her through what she has experienced and what she has discovered. And she's got Apollo on the south node, which tells me that in the last life, she was a healer. She was a force for good. She was here to, you know, try to bring healing to, you know, whatever she was around. And see, highly clairvoyant, because you have Neptune and let's see here, where did the moon go? Let me kind of push this. I mean, I'm going to move this over here. Aha, there we are. Okay, so we have moon very close to Neptune. It's within 3 degrees, and it says, you know, this person is extremely clairvoyant. They also have, they might have doubted it at first, okay, when they were real young and just kind of growing up, just for the sake of the fact that Mercury is sextile Uranus. So, this person, if they wanted to, might be able to like manipulate electronics even in this life. If they want. If you don't want, that's fine too. We're here to make you happy. Neptune is trine Horus. So once again, has a very much, good heart for people. This person with, does say, I don't think was treated very well growing up, but has like almost this divine compassion for others that is so rare, and it also is actually sextiling Ceres and Vesta. So, this person is very much a nourisher. Okay. I don't think that this person uses like their abilities to like necessarily show off. It's not about that. Okay. It's more about not, hey, everybody look at me. It's more like, hey, what can I do for other people? And, but it is a nice card to be able to pull out of your back pocket. Nobody ever said that was wrong. So Mars Sun, it asked itself, why me? More than twice. And God said, so why not you? So, I understand. I get it. I do that too. That's fine. Nothing wrong with that. There's never been anything wrong with that. And but also a very practical mind. So a lot of times, probably in youth, kind of rejected some of this, and then it overtook them probably in their teenage and their 20s. And it's like, I can't deny this anymore. I mean, you can try, but you're just going to look silly and waste a lot of energy. But that's I'm not here to tell you how to live. So Reiki, Reiki with being at 10 degrees Sagittarius, because it's still close enough to the moon, and it's also, let's see, is it squaring? Where is it? I know that it had a square, and I saw it just a minute ago. It does square. Well, it doesn't square. It actually trines, or no, sextiles Ceres. So this is somebody who nourishes too with their thoughts, and they try to tell people good and positive things. So even when they're not conscious, it's quite lovely this chart. So Urania is something that was brought in this lifetime. So that's any like the I don't know, they called it New Age a long time ago. What are they calling it now? I don't know. What are they doing it?
I think it's still New Age.
It's still New Age. I wish they would lose that term.
I'm going to change that though. I'm going to change it to be like,
okay,
nah,
that's your job.
this is old age, just at a new time.
Your new job is to find a new word, because that's the only way I can explain it. Urania is open to, was open to other possibilities rather than, just, what somebody told you or what the doctor said, or, what is acceptable to believe at that time. So this person came in to change a lot of people's minds about things, and it don't come easy. It don't come easy. Also exhibits, it's considered a grand trine between the ascendant being the most personal part of the chart. It actually trines Mercury. So this person does, communicate, logically, very, very effectively. This person, with a Mercury and Capricorn, they mean business, and, Earth Mercuries, you got to love Earth Mercuries. I have a soft spot in my heart because my Mercury is trying that. And so, we won't open our mouth unless we know what we're talking about. That's just Earth Mercury. Very, very rarely you see one of them shooting off the mouth. But it's also trying the North Node. And so, this person came in here to be themselves and to communicate about, well, for instance, it's next to Pallas, and Pallas is wisdom, really, so. And it does have, is Psyche opposing, does oppose, let's see, Psyche and Hypnos. So it's right here, Psyche being in the 8th house, does say that it was hidden for quite some time. And, Hypnos said that, it's also falls in the 2nd house of resources. So this person could be a very good, regressor, could take you back through your past lives if you wanted. So And we know who that is. Subject 0124, will you please raise your hand? Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
You.
Next. Okay. Okay. Subject 0413. This person had this person has moon is actually 60 degrees perfectly from Neptune, which says that this person came in with the ability to develop a develop a gift to be able to talk about things from the past. Because the moon, remember we talked about, it's like the memory. This person can unlock a memory of a place, and can also let's see here, because moon is where are we going? Moon is square Mars. This person also fought very hard not to access it, and just figured that would not. It almost says that it would not be accepted by certain people if they opened their mouth and told everything that they really knew. So probably spent a good deal of their youth, reading about this stuff in the closet, and didn't really see how it would be effective. Saturn, it trines the spirit, and Saturn trine spirit does say that this person did come in with the ability to see and sense things very strongly. And so this person will be very sensitive to the presence of spirits or the presence of energy. It is kind of with Mars, and let's see here, what else is it? It trines Apollo. So it does say that this person brings a lot of healing and a lot of understanding, and opens up a lot of things just by explaining to people, this is the history of a place, and we should be respective. The asteroids of Apollo, Spirit, and Discovery form a grand trine. And what that is Discovery, being Scorpio, in the sign of Scorpio, says that this person discovered hidden things. Things were probably hidden from this person for a long time. And yet somehow they knew, beforehand what somebody was going to tell them. Hypnos on the ascendant means one of two things. It means that this person can access things remotely with their mind and their subconscious, or they can have really violent dreams. Urania is next to Saturn, which means that in another lifetime, and Apollo also is conjunct Saturn, that this and Horus. So this person had a great deal of responsibility to use kind of like the hidden arts, if you will, to give people information. There is telepathy next to Ceres, which says that, and it's kind of in a Caden house, so it doesn't say that it's a very strong placement for telepathy. However, because it's Ceres, if someone needed to contact this subject, that it could be done, kind of like on an intellectual level. This person does not deny that telepathy exists, but this person wants to use Ceres along with telepathy to nurture. And that's just a part of this person's, psyche. The psyche is right along with in Gemini. So that means, when she, the subject got older, she was able to more clearly talk about experiences and, what really happened, versus what she might have said when she was young. So sometimes we grow into our abilities. And let's see here, Mercury Uranus opposition says that this person's mind never, ever, ever rests, and so that means that the subconscious is going all the time. And but again, the ability to explain spirits, explain the past, bringing in, astrologer was probably, at least a couple lifetimes was an astrologer. And subject 413 will raise a hand. So that's good. So
Put your hand up for everyone, Sharon.
Reiki next to Venus says that, somebody is, very much, interested in, like healing, has a love of helping others, and while this person may not have like the, the ability of Edgar Casey or the ability of, our previous example, this person will guide and counsel others, and kind of be sort of like the voice behind the throne. So that's me. I'm subject 413. So
I thought it was Sharon. I didn't see her raising her hand. That's why.
But we are pretty similar.
413 will raise her hand. Yes.
I thought you were saying it to Sharon. I was like, I didn't see your hand, Sharon. Oh my God, I love it. I'm so
They're very similar about the brains not shutting
I
down.
know. I was like, oh, this
Sharon had
poor
the same
person.
aspect. Sharon had the same
was laughing.
aspect in different. They were in different signs, but it doesn't matter. The aspect is the aspect, and so mine never shuts.
Oh no!
It never
I know. I
shuts
was
the
like, I
front
feel
door.
so bad for this person. No rest in the mind. Where do you go for safety? Like,
You don't. You just make do with what you can.
oh no!
It's called Xanax, honey. And it takes. No, I'm serious. It takes me 3 milligrams to go down at night. That's
Wow.
I had an overactive.
Well, I'll send some energy your way to help with sleep. I'm really good at helping with sleep. That's a good thing I can do.
Yeah, you can. I know, because where your hypnos and where your Neptune was very much, a soother,
Yeah.
But yeah, let's see. I think that might be my last slide. Yeah. So I talked about, because there was only a half an hour presentation really, and I know I went over because it's just us chickens, and I wanted to elaborate on everybody's chart more than I probably will get a chance to at the Quantum Bliss, but I at least wanted to tell you guys what was going on, and I think this is Noah's first time hearing this.
Yes.
Yeah.
What'd you think? You loved it, didn't you? He said he'll work on your migraines too, because that's one of his things. So yeah.
Thank you. Yes. Well, certain placements in astrology, certain placements get certain things, and just life in the big city. He's a Taurus ascendant. Noah knows a Taurus ascendant, so be very careful about his neck.
Okay.
Like, anything like thyroids or like a trachea or, epiglottis, anything like that that's within the neck.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's just, and the same with you, Melissa, your descendants. And so, yeah. And so Taurus ascendants just have that circumstance, and, Aries sun, well, Aquarius sun has things with their legs. Okay, they've got to take real good care of their legs. And Pisces, I tell people with a lot of Pisces in their charts, watch your feet. Take good care of your feet. Aries has head problems. Okay, so migraines, anxiety, anything like that. That's associated with Aries, Miss Sharon. And I mean, it's just part of it. Every sign gets something. I mean, that's.
I don't get headaches at all. Well, the anxiety
No.
I do, but I don't at all. So if mine hurts, it's like there's something wrong. Yeah, I don't get it.
Wow.
Noah says he takes care of me. He's like, she has pressure sometimes, and then I just help it.
Yeah, I'll get like a tingle in my ear, and it's like, oh, he's working on me. And I felt this cold air earlier. I didn't want to mention it, but I thought there's an audience here. She just kept coming by, and it was this cold air. It was very cool.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, now I was gonna say now something that my grandmother did. See why I don't see spirits. I feel them, I sense them. I close my eyes and I can imagine them, but what my grandma did, she read Psalm 91 and dabbed olive oil on my temples when I was, 3 months old, because she's like, I'm gonna cover this one just in case, and that, I don't know. So that kind of kept me from seeing things because she was afraid that it would frighten me. And so that's what her mom did to all her babies, and that's what grandma did to hers. And so that's just how it worked out. He's smiling, he's kind of laughing. You're soaking this in, aren't you, Mr. Aquarius?
Oh yeah. So cool.
Oh no, you're as I say, Mr. and Miss Aquarius here, yeah. And
He said, "Know that I love this." He was excited. His hands were like shaking. He was like so excited. Yeah, that was neat.
that's so sweet. I'm glad you liked it.
Are
Like,
you
you
being?
inspired it.
And he's working on your telepathy too, because it's like, yeah, you can receive. He's going to work on that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you can hear me. It's like I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah.
It was funny because when you were bringing up spirits with him,
Yeah.
he was like, Melissa, I don't want to do that anymore. Him and I did this telepathic show, this psychic gallery, and we merged. So I could see what he was seeing, but he could see what I was seeing, but I never brought him to where I was. I had only until that point gone to where he was. And
Yes.
so, which I've gone universal so many times and just like, whatever. I mean, universe is fun and safe and whatever. And so the second that I dropped into where he was, he just like stood or where he could see how I could see, because I can share my vision with people. And especially like Noah and I, we just got that. And he just like sits back and his eyes just got huge, and he got up and he's like, this is a zoo. I'm not doing this. Like, this is too many people. This is too many things. And he does not ever want to see spirits like that. I mean, ever. He like, Melissa, never bring me to that again. So it was funny when you were like, he could see spirits. He's like, I know, but I don't want to.
I understand. I mean, if it gets bad, keep Psalm 91 on you. Okay. I know this is a safe group. So let me see if I can't show you a picture. Something did happen to me in the infirmary when we went to Mansfield. Okay. And I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this, if I need to adjust the angle or what. But hopefully what you're seeing there is an arm that's like at the bend of an arm, and it's got a bruise on it. Okay. So what happened was, anybody who's ever gone on a ghost hunt with me, because I love ghost hunting, okay, I'm very, very strict in that I make you carry a mezuzah. If you're going with me, you're carrying a mezuzah. Mezuzah, if you're not familiar with that, it's the little scroll that you usually find on Jewish people's houses, okay, like right in the front. They'll tap it on the door, and sometimes you'll find them in the rooms of the houses. And it's basically just like it says in the Bible, to keep the laws of God, like, on your person. And so Mercury was in retrograde. She lost her glasses and she lost the mezuzah. I've been telling people, I said, what was it, soap on a rope, I'm going to put a magnet in your tuchus, and it's going to be glasses on your asses from now on, because I've had it, people losing them. Anyway, so I gave her the mezuzah to hold because she was kind of spooked about it. And I went off into the infirmary, and I've got, my phone with, doing EVPs like this, with your arm out like you're supposed to. And I felt something go over the inside of my arm, but I just figured it was a cobweb or something, just brush it off, it'll be fine. 2 days later, I have a needle, looked like a needle stick bruise. I hadn't been to the doctor. I don't use needles. Okay. I'm scared to death of needles, and so, but when I went into the infirmary without that mezuzah, and because I have an angular Neptune, I got jumped. So
yeah, they're getting so more predominant, and actually that's going to be a huge step up thing that I'm going to do. I mean, there's so many exorcisms. I mean, the thing with ghosts and spirits right now is that we've had so much birth that we're overlapping. I mean, I can't it's rare to see 10 feet that doesn't have a ghost walking through it. Like if there's a 10 foot by 10 foot and there's no ghost, like what the heck is going, that's a vortex or a portal or something's happening
Yeah.
there. Like why is that not there? Or it's sanctioned for whatever reason, but we're just over topping, you know. And one thing that I'm trying to teach people is we're never going to get rid of ghosts, you know, the way that people think, like we're going to banish you or Jesus, or I mean, demons, you know, like in the name of Jesus, or say leave, because if whatever can go to light, it goes to light right away. Like there's three embodiments: our death of the body, that stays here; death of the spirit, which is all love and accomplishment and empathy and whatever, all the good stuff, that goes to light. All of the unsettled things that we haven't done, either that we have done wrong to others or that others have done wrong to us, that we haven't come to peace with before we die, that's ghost energy. So if you run into them, to gift them something is actually, or to love them, or to care for them, or to sit and counsel them, helps you move, or helps them move over. But they are getting to the point right now that they're so angry that people aren't listening, and lots of people know. And I'm not meaning to discredit you, because you knew that it was there, but didn't know like it was there. But they're like, they know when people know. And they're like, you know, and they get mad, and they're starting to really abuse people and cut people, like slash people. I mean, it's becoming very physical. There was a 2-year-old girl I had to do an exorcism on. You want to talk about scary? Like that was hands down the most scariest. I mean, and that was in the past few weeks. I mean, her eyes, no white, completely went black. The words coming out of her mouth was not human. Was the way that she spoke, was when she spoke words that she usually, you know, like the English that she speaks was not of her. I mean, this kid, I would not have been surprised if it literally crawled up the wall and went upside down. And the fact that the demons are getting the pure souls so young, that really shows where we are at humanity, and that we are not protecting ourselves. And I'm going to say it, and I've said it, and I'll say it over and over. Fuck Elon Musk. Sorry, but fuck Elon Musk. He was the one that brought a lot of this in. He thought he could mess around with the Starlink. He put out different constellations, and he opened gateways to aliens and to demonic beings. And people keep paying into this. And he himself opened the portal to this. I have seen, he is the most evil, most corrupt man. And this is just mine, so you guys don't have to agree. But he will and has already started the spiritual war. Elon Musk is the one person that is going to bring extraterrestrial and artificial intelligence into war with humanity. And it's already started. And I don't know how to stop it at this point, because they're not going to try to stop. You know what I mean? And so we're calling them in at this point, and there's not enough people that know how to handle this stuff to have it handled. And it's toppling, and they're getting angry and more powerful. And there's even more entities that they're feeding off of. I mean, the ghosts have ghosts that they're being haunted by. That is my most scariest thing, when I can see a ghost be haunted by a ghost that I can't see, but I can see that they're being haunted by it, because it's lifting the ghost up and like shaking it. And you can see that ghost doing that. Like I've seen demon eaters where my angels have just been like, I was driving my cart down the land. I go down all the time, just a golf cart. And my angel came by and just grabbed, I mean, their wings went so fast that my cart spun, and I looked, and this thing that was, I mean, had to have been easily 200 feet tall, was picking up demons and eating them. And I was like, what? And I looked at it and it was the scariest feeling I have ever felt, but at the same time, just telepathically said, get out. And I was like, I'm not even questioning, and like left.
Sure, here you go. Yeah.
I mean, like, yeah, the things that I'm seeing right now and the things that are going on is just, I've never seen anything like this. I've never seen anything like this. The Mandela effect, I mean, it's crazy. We have so many spiritual people and gurus and all these people that can do all these things that don't know the repercussion of the things. And so they go and they open these portals and they open these vortexes, or they close them, or like they go and jump timelines. They don't understand the merging that they're doing. I mean, we're in a crisis right now, state of being, and it's a freaking free for all. It's a free for all. And like, how do you, and at the end of it, I've gone to the core to be like, what needs to be healed? It's creator. How do you go and tell people that they need to heal creator before any of this even stops? You know, like, it's intense.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen like, I mean, when Neptune moved into Pisces permanently in 2013, that's when, you know, you notice that everything had like a ghost show on it. Like, you know, you had, everybody did like ghost and spiritual, you know, spirit investigations and things. And there are some people that are very, very disrespectful of, you know, the places and the people that they're dealing with. You know, and I'm not sure, like what you were saying, I'm not sure what they think that they're trying to accomplish, you know, by, you know, antagonizing, you know, beings and being very disrespectful. I mean, they had a celebrity tour. I'm not going to say who it was, but, you know, we'll just say at the Mansfield prison, there was a woman. Okay. She was the warden's wife, and she was very, very strict Catholic. Now, in the 1950s, in November of 1950, she was getting ready for Sunday Mass, and the story, she was either in her closet reaching up for a hat box or reaching for a jewelry case. Accounts differ, but she managed to dislodge her husband's pistol, and it fired at her, and it killed her. Yes, I believe that is horse shit. You know, because if it sounds like horse shit and it smells like horse shit, it's horse shit. So yeah, I smell it, and you know, I could only think, but because, you know, this person, I mean, you have to realize this was a Catholic woman in the 1950s. I don't mind swearing, I don't mind certain lifestyles, but then again, I'm not, you know, I'm not a Catholic woman from the 1950s. Okay. And if I'm trying to communicate with somebody from the 1950s, okay, you know, there's going to be, you know, they didn't accept people who, you know, had certain preferences and things, and you don't go in there cussing, and you don't challenge them, and you don't, that's very disrespectful and very rude, you know, and you, for the love of God, don't show up drunk. Well, what the heck is that, man? Really? Yeah, and oh, why did you just do that? Why did you just do that?
Well, and that's a quick possession right there. I mean, spirits is called spirits and wine for a reason. And
Yes.
you go ghost hunting and you're drinking, like there's a reason. If I see anybody that has been drinking, I won't ever hold sacred ceremony. I'm like, you just made it open. You just opened this ceremony, and it's no longer sacred because of the fact that when you work with spirits in any aspect, whether you're hunting or whether you're
looking for evidence, anything like that.
Yeah, you know, even doing rituals and stuff with them, anytime that you call them in and you have alcohol in you is a chance for possession. Is a chance, it opens a gateway for them to jump right into. And I can't even tell you, a lot of the exorcisms too that I do is people like, I just went and got plastered drunk and I haven't been the same since. Like there, you don't mess around. I mean, I'm not going to say I don't have a cocktail or two, but I think I've been drunk maybe 3 times in my whole life. And I'll tell you, they were my younger years.
Yeah, it's not it's not about it's not about alcohol consumption necessarily. It's about showing up inebriated or in an altered state of mind where you are being in a disrespectful, and this person I felt was very disrespectful of, this woman who died there. Whether she was it herself or her husband, don't know, but she she died. And you don't go into a Catholic person's house swearing. You don't take the, you don't use the Lord's name in vain. You don't, you just don't. So, when people like to collect haunted things, and I'm like, why would you do that? I don't understand it. So, and I mean, I've seen people like, taunt spirits and things, and you're right, that's what is making it more abusive.
Well, and when they're collecting the haunting things, essentially what they're doing is harvesting souls.
Oh,
That's what they're doing.
Okay.
Because if something is haunted, it's attached to that material thing, so the owner of it actually has the ability to coincide or even work with or change. Like sometimes, I mean, they can, like I said, harvest the soul. They can know what that person knew, and they can never let them go because they still know that that energy is there, so they can still process and feed off that energy. I mean, but it goes like ways. The safest thing to do if you ever see something that's haunted is release it through fire, because that's instant transformation, that's instantly purification, and that is the quickest, harshest thing that they can go to, but it's very fast. Because if it doesn't go, and I go back and forth with people who have passed them, like, we should just burn all their stuff, like release them all the way. Because I think I've maybe said to you, but I know I've said it a few times, people, I mean, go to any thrift store, and especially go in their shoe section. You will see ghost galore. Like, stop going to the cemeteries and start going to the thrift stores. You want some good ghost hunting, because people are attached to their things. But as you burn it, as you let that really go, like transformational, they release too, because they don't have that energy to hold on to and keep them in the material world, so they can't bind. I mean, fibers, especially of clothes and shoes, I mean, it's intense.
I think the only thing that you'll really get from investigating cemeteries is emotional. You will get like an emotion, because death back in the 1800s was almost glorified in a sense. You would have it was like there were whole catalogs dedicated to mourning apparel. Okay, and then they would tell you, sneaky marketers. What they did was they said that like, if you, for instance, if you were mourning somebody close to your family, you shouldn't keep those mourning clothes around because they're bad luck. See, then that's nonsense, because but yeah, you would see people who would actually come and visit the graves. They not everybody does that now. I mean, you feel you do what you need to feel, and you need to do. I'm not here to judge you, but that's but I think you do still can pick up presences in graveyards, and a lot of times it's of the people that they were attached to, because that's who felt the the deepest of their passing, and just to know that that's where their final place is. So, because I ghost hunted back in Maryland, and we would go to we went to it was a Merriman cemetery, and so descendants, Merriman and their descendants and such, and we would get faces, we would get a lot of orbs, we would feel a lot of presences, we would feel and then we had this one idiot who showed up drunk, and anyway, it was just oh my gosh. So, but yeah, they are still there. And I always laugh, like, because metal, any type of metal that you touch, because there's metal in your blood, the iron is the actual metal itself. When somebody said they need to take more iron or something. So that iron can interact with, not strongly, but interact with copper and gold and silvers and other metals. So when you pick up something that, belong to somebody, you will get the residual.
Electromagnetic energy.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they speak with us electronically.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
funny that you brought up, I must have totally missed that when you and I talked about my chart. You're like, this person could go with electronics. So it was like a big thing when I really first started being like, I'm coming out. And it was like my energy just sat in a shooken bottle the whole time. And then all of a sudden it was like, wait, you released me? Boom. So I'd walk into houses and lights would shut down and then turn back on. And so,
wow.
it was a joke that it was my grand entrance. And one day I was driving home and I pull up into my driveway and the neighbor on the right side of me and the neighbor across the street from me, left side of me and the neighbor across the street, both come out of their houses at once. And I hear, Melissa, why did you? And I'm like, why are, they both started yelling different things. I'm like, what are you guys yelling at? And all of a sudden my daughters come out. They're like, oh, mom's home. And I'm like, what? Everyone's electricity shut down and they were all blaming me, but it actually was a power outage that time. But they were so used to like Melissa shows up that they were like, turn it back on. And I cannot have a cell phone longer than 6 months because I burn through the energy so much that it won't even charge anymore.
Yeah.
And so it's a big joke to be like, dang it, I can't. I've actually kept one for a year, but I did have to send it in and I have another one. I've been flip-flopping with it, but and that's really a thing. Or I'll be sitting in my kitchen and that's how they talk to me, Morse code. And sometimes I get mad and I'm like, just knock it off. Like, I don't want to talk right now. I've had enough talking with everyone. Stop. And the lights will literally just stop.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Or if I walk at night with all the street lights, they'll react if I'm walking by.
Yeah. I believe it.
That's funny.
I would absolutely believe it. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could actually probably manipulate electronics eventually but it would take like all of your concentration. It would take, you can't have any like intruding thoughts like, hey, what am I going to cook for dinner? You can't do that. You have to like totally focus on that one thing. So, yeah.
Oh, I used to lay in bed and do that all the time. I'm like, I know I can shut this light off. Light, shut off. Let's work together. But I haven't really done it on command yet.
I could get there.
And I'm really excited. Then it all goes wonky. But that's funny. Awesome blossom. Well, thanks so much. That was enlightening. I really hope you get to go on to go bigger and like expand a lot more and be like in greater, bigger crowds. I would absolutely love to see that. You're very knowledgeable. I love that you added humanity, astrology, spirituality, plus biblical scriptures on all different sides. I love that you're putting the Jewish and the Christianity and stuff together and putting those aspects of it and utilizing such fluidness between how you tell your stories. It's almost like you're telling the story of a person, which is awesome, rather than just, well, this is where their house is, which I've heard in the past from other people. You're just like, here's the whole story. And really thoroughly have done your research and are ready to present it. And I can tell you, and I'm probably getting emotional because that's what I do when spirit comes, like, you are chosen for this. This is your path. This will be life-changing, and you will affirm many people, and also show truth, when they're affirming things that aren't real.
you.
You'll,
Thank you.
and I can tell you from Creator and the spirits and your ancestors and the angels and everyone who is behind me that says you did it absolutely right, with the right amount of information, with not giving too much, but giving enough to make them wonder.
Mhm.
And you did it with the way that they need it, with kindness, with education, with facts, with like I said, and you gave that, you still let Creator be part of your creation, which a lot of people don't do. And so
I'm not that arrogant.
no, keep doing what you're doing, because you're doing it beautifully. And
Adriana stood here about half an hour and she watched it. She doesn't do that. She was actually standing in front. Didn't know if you could see her.
I could
But
see her a little bit, a couple
yeah.
times. Yeah.
Yeah, she was just nodding, and even when she was off the screen, she was just listening and nodding and just taking it all in. She loved it. Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, I'm glad. I know we talked about Adriana's chart a little
Yeah.
bit. Yeah. And that's why I said, unfortunately I only have 30, I think I only have 30 minutes. I think these presentations are only 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you
No,
know.
she loves hearing all of this. Yeah.
Well, she wants to sit down one day and, just us, hey, we could all come, it's all right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I learn, every time, sometimes it's like I pick up a chart and I see something new every time.
Mhm.
And, it's like you can stare at it all day, but you learn something, so.
Yeah.
Yes.
all right. Well, I'm ready to go eat dinner because I just finished working when I sat down with you ladies. So I am ready to eat. I'm sure you guys are ready for bed. It's late.
Yep. She's ever gone upstairs.
Yeah, so proud of you. You did so well. And thank you so
you.
very much for your information and your time.
Thank you for
And-
allowing me to utilize your chart. I really
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank
Noah
you.
says you're welcome too. He said you
Yeah.
did very well. Yeah.
Thank you, Noah. Thank you. You inspired it, Noah.
So cool.
And we'll see you this weekend. So
We'll see you this weekend.
Yeah, we'll be in tomorrow night. I don't know what time yet, but yep, we'll be there.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Well, you'll, I was gonna say, yeah, just, where exactly is may I ask, where?
Yeah,
where
it is. I gotta look it up. It's like 3 blocks away from the place. So it is Maple Avenue, 315 Maple Avenue.
Maple, okay.
Uh-huh.
Maple.
Yep.
I hope that's in the historic district because it was interesting because when we were my boyfriend Todd, so when we were kind of figuring out where we were going to park and unload and stuff you think about, there are some neighborhoods that aren't very far away from the courthouse that are a little less than safe, maybe a little
okay. Ooh.
So yeah, and sometimes you don't get the whole picture on, I'm not trying to imply anybody's trying to saying, just be careful because and I know Noah likes to walk around a lot, but I would really discourage that in and around, much past, Maple Street. No, I'm not trying to be mean to you, honey. I'm just trying to keep you okay. There's people out there. I know you're a tough guy. You can handle yourself, okay? But there's some where being Caucasian is a crime.
Gotcha. Yeah.
All right. I don't make the rules. There are my rules.
Yeah.
15 Maple. I think you're in the historical district. So
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. The historical district is pretty safe. It's mostly like lawyers' offices and stuff,
Yeah.
But too much, a couple streets over, but it can go from blue to red in 2 2 blocks.
Yeah.
He's laughing.
He's like, oh, we're good.
Okay. All right. That's just the protective person. I tend to try, like Leo Ascendant tries to mother and protect. So yeah. So
yeah. Yeah, Noah's been having these Airbnbs just pop up in the right area. And it's like, are you
Oh.
sure about this? He's like, yeah. Okay, we're going for it. So yeah.
Oh, good, good. Yeah, we just want to make sure it's a safe neighborhood. That's all.
Yeah. Yep.
Mhm. Yeah, let's see here. Oh, somebody, he's got it pulled up. How are we looking there? Is it right where we think?
It's close to the post office, probate court, municipal court. According to this.
Yeah. Okay, so it's all right.
We're
Yeah.
good? Awesome.
Yeah, we're good. Todd checked it out. Yeah. 'Cause,
Good.
yeah,
Thank you.
thank you. He's very good. He's marvelous. I mean, without him, not a lot would be possible. So don't think I don't know it. So,
Oh.
Noah, you're a delight to work with. Thank you for sharing your energy with us.
He says thank you.
Melissa, every time I see you, it's a delight. You know that. And Sharon, thank you so much for.
Yeah.
I'm very grateful that you brought me into a nice circle of people. So.
Oh, well, I'm glad you joined our circle. You're one of us.
Yeah.
Always glad.
And I'm happy too, and I can't reach us. I can almost feel the energy from over here.
Oh, I bet you can. Yeah,
This
earlier
is
he
subject
typed
1020.
Yeah, he typed "Hello, Dolly" earlier, and it's like, okay, you had that old soul coming in.
Hello,
Hello,
Dolly.
Dolly. Yeah.
Bless you,
Oh,
Sean.
yeah.
Bye. I'll see you.
Bye.
That was subject 1020. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I love all you, and I will
Love you
talk to you
guys.
later. And thank you
Talk to you
also.
Okay, we'll see you this weekend.
Sorry.
See you soon.
Okay, bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.